Okay, so without further ado, I'll pass over to Phil Hullah, who is the CEO of Floream, and before that Phil was at John Lewis. So Phil has a lot of experience of overseeing the development of all sorts of teams, but in particular tonight we're going to be talking about marketing. So over to you, Phil.
Sure. Well, good evening, everybody. So I currently run a digital skills training business, so this is a topic which is clearly very close to my heart. But as Tim mentioned prior to that, I've been running digital businesses for 10 years or so, mostly actually in the e-commerce retail space, as I did with John Lewis. And I just paused in preparation for this evening's account, and I think I've set up over that time 7 digital marketing teams. And so therefore, if there are any mistakes to make in setting those teams up, I'm pretty confident I've made them all. It was therefore a bit of a challenge to think of my top 3 tips, but nonetheless I've reached a conclusion, and the very first of those is, I guess it's slightly obvious, but in terms of thinking about the mistakes I've made, the very first top tip from me would be to make sure you get the right people into the team in the first place. So make sure that you hire for attitude and potential. And if I think about some of the pitfalls that I've fallen into, I think it's quite easy to get too focused on the technical skills that somebody has on their CV and feel like, eureka, that person is clearly an SEO genius, and get a bit blinkered by that. I also think it's quite easy to be seduced by the brand names on the CV and be blinded a bit to the underlying skills. It's difficult to test the skills that somebody's got when they are, by definition, a specialist and almost certainly better than you are at doing what you're talking about. And also, certainly I found myself occasionally picking somebody because they look and feel a bit like an agent of change, a bit spiky, a bit different. And that's great, but actually you underestimate the chaos that that can really cause. So in terms of avoiding those pitfalls, my view is that first and foremost, learn to listen to that secret inner voice you've got, that within 5 minutes or so of an interview, you kind of know whether or not this feels right. The problem is you train yourself to ignore it very effectively. My advice is don't ignore it. It's always right. It always proves to be the case. And then secondly, and more generically, make sure you hire for raw material. Don't be seduced by the specifics. You look for 3 things: intellect, passion, and curiosity, and you can train the rest, in my opinion. So that's number 1.